How do these fires happen?
No maintenance.
No maintenance.
Yeah, and look, there's different sort of areas of maintenance, from changing the filters on a regular basis, depending on the style of cooking, to the volume of cooking they're doing, and then sort of even sort of maintaining the canopies, whether that's doing external canopy cleans and cleaning out the face of the canopy and around the perimeter gutter where the oil sort of can build up and sometimes can build up.
So just because there's a couple of things here, can I just get you to draw out for us on or someone to draw out on the window there what we're talking about? Because you mentioned filters, you mentioned canopies, you mentioned fans. I'm not sure, but can you map out what exactly you're talking about?
Three key services: filter exchange, filter clean, canopy clean, stainless, and then the kitchen exhaust cleaning. They're the three key services.
Okay.
So when we talk full system cleans, we're talking the canopy.
Yep.
We're talking the ducting.
On the exhaust system.
And we're talking the fan. So that's right from the bottom
all the way to the top.
All the way to the top.
Yep.
When we talk an external clean, it's basically the face of the canopy.
It's all the stainless.
And really, that service is more just a cosmetic.
Sure.
So if the range hood is in front of customers, so it doesn't look greasy and oil.
Yeah.
Then we look at a filter exchange, which is just simple. Which is just simply clean filters, change it with the dirty one.
Yeah.
I'll just write your filter swap.
Yeah.
And then we've got other places where inside their premises they're only responsible for what's in their premises, and say the shopping centre or the facility manager are responsible for the common ducting.
Yep.
So we could do an internal external clean. I'll just write internal external canopy clean.
Or your food courts mainly.
Okay.
And that's basically just the canopy and ducting. I'll just write here inside premises so you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, cool.
Inside premises. So if I talk here full system, right?
Yeah. The drawing.
Yeah, if I talk here full system, I'm going to just put that's the canopy with the filters. And then you've got ducting that goes all the way up until your fan. So basically that's cleaning the whole lot.
Okay, cool.
Right? If you're talking external hood wipe or external canopy clean, I'll try to keep the same terminology.
Yeah.
You're talking basically just the face of the canopy. So we don't take any filters out, it's just basically what you see.
Yep,
and the little drip rails down the bottom. So basically just what you see.
Yeah.
And that's generally what we do on most of our sites, where we try to put a little diagram to show where we can clean, where we can't clean, because I think these days it's more about the areas we can't access that are more important than the areas we can access. Whereas 10 years ago, nobody really cared. These days, a lot of our clients are saying to us, okay, we can see you can clean this, you can clean that. Tell us the areas where we can't clean, but what can we do about it? And that tends to be the trend now, because obviously the more we can clean throughout all the ducting, the better it's going to be, and obviously the minimal amount of fire.
Yeah.
But as you can understand, access issues, building issues, a million different issues may form some of the challenges that we face when looking at a duct system in order to try and clean it.
Okay, so because we do a lot of new buildings for a lot of strata style buildings, like what are some of the bad decisions a developer might make or a fit out person might make in setting up this?
Well, what's happening at the moment, and we're a member of the Fire Protection Association, and we've been to meetings, and we had a seminar about 2 months ago where they had all these fire protection assessors who go around, whether it's an old building or a new building, and they assess whether it's safe. And their regulations state that access has to be every 3 metres in the ducting and on every level. Well, we just don't find it. It's just non-existent. And
so
here we were.
Every 3
So
metres.
every 3 metres in the ducting, you should have an access panel.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a reasonable 500 by maybe 400 access panel, So a person can get their body in and reach 1.5 meters that way, 1.5 meters that way,
Okay.
with the arm stretched out. That's just not happening. You get installers, mechanical ventilation installers, and they might go and put an access panel in like that. Well, they're conforming that they put an access panel every 3 meters, but it doesn't give you access to cleaning. So we have to go in afterwards and put a larger panel in.
Right.
But a lot of the time, the new system goes in, the place is sort of ripped out, and they go and put the ducting up to the roof, or they join onto some existing ducting, put a rain hood canopy in there with the ducting, and then they go and put the ceiling in, and they don't think about putting a ceiling hatch so you can access that ducting. And then other times, the ducting they put in, you might get the ceiling like that, and you put a ladder up there, open the hatch, and the ducting is another 3 meters higher.
All right.
So you just can't get to it.
Sure.
So there's all these things. We work with some of the larger national companies before they go and put their ceiling in. We say, look, we need access panels there, there, and there. But where you put an access panel, you've got to have a ceiling hatch directly below it.
Yeah.
Don't go and put it offset about another meter because there's a light there, because it's pointless, that ceiling hatch being there, because we're not going to be accessed. And that's the same, we get these inline fans. An inline fan is usually put in to try and just boost the airflow. So where the main fan is up on the roof, it could be 20 stories up.
Yeah.
But inside the restaurant or food outlet, they will go and put an inline fan to try and draw the air up at 23 stories up to the top. Sometimes you don't get that, so you get minimal airflow down the bottom. In Westfield shopping centres, you get a food court, they get the main fan, which is up in the plant room, up on the roof of a Westfield centre. Every food outlet is given a minimum amount of air quality that they can have, and whatever that is, they might have 90, and the shop next door might have 70, for what the fan on the roof can cope with 15, 20 food outlets in there.
To add on to what Bill's saying as well, to add on what Phil's saying as well, depends on which side of the fence you sit on. If you sit on from an owner's point of view, an owner doesn't really care about the maintenance side, they just looking at the cosmetic look of their place. It only becomes an issue for an owner when you get people like yourselves, insurance company knocking on their door saying, hey, we need certification.
Yeah.
From a builder's point of view, if you've got ducting this wide, obviously for us it'd be great to have an access panel as wide as the ducting.
Yeah, so what is...
But I think of the after fact that when they're designing it, when they're installing it,
It's an afterthought.
We're here today, we're going to install it, that's it.
And so is there a standard?
When you say there's a standard, the standard is just an access panel, so they come in 3 or 4 different sizes. So you can get an APO, which is the largest one.
Right.
You can get and then the next size down, which is an AP1 and an AP2.
Right.
And then there's just the flat panel ones, because you get square ducting and then you get circular ducting.
Now, you see that bottom one at the bottom?
Yeah, what
That's
are you
what.
supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
How big is that really? Like, what is that?
It's probably
That's as big as
150
your
by.
keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about the size. Yeah.
But what you got to understand, Rami, is when they tender for this,
Yeah.
when they tender for these, the tender process says you need access panels installed.
That's
So in order for them to win, it doesn't specify the size of the access panel. So in order for builders to win these tender projects, if they install that small one, as far as they're concerned, they're adhering to what they've quoted. They put an access panel in there. It's when we come along and we say, hold on a sec, your ducting's that big. Why have you got a little panel in that size?
Yeah.
We can't even put our wrist in.
Yeah.
People say, oh, but if you can fit a scraper and you can clean, well, hold on a sec, what are you actually cleaning?
So that larger access panel is an APO size, and the guy can actually climb inside the ducting. So that's his
part
hobby.
of it, like, the upper part of the body.
Okay. So we're talking like that's about a metre.
We only install those top 2.
Okay.
That one and the one in the middle.
So it's
Yeah.
AP0 and AP1. AP1.
And you can get the same sort of style at the curve, because you get, as I said, curved ducting, you get square ducting.
Yeah.
And the curved ducting is more used for pizza ovens, that sort of stuff.
So basically, just to touch on what they're saying, you've got horizontal and vertical. When the kitchens are going, everything's hot, gravity, like the oil, through the airflow, it'll get, particles get sucked up, they'll build up and so on. It's hot, it'll go to the lowest point. So these panels are they should be on the horizontal side.
So I'll give you just a quick diagram up here.
So that
So if you've got ducting running like this, what Laurie's trying to say is oil will travel up this way, But if you're going to get all the oil sticking anywhere, like we'll have to cut an access panel right here. So when the person, a stick figure, gets up there and cleans, he's going to clean this side and this side, because anything he scrapes here, it's just going to fall back down to here.
So that's where in the horizontal, that's where all the deposits are going to be.
Yeah, sure.
And that's where it'll build up.
Okay.
And that's the fuel.
Yeah.
That's what the risk.
But if you're okay, so ultimately you've got a design element. So someone who does the HVAC plans for the building is going to sketch it out.
Yes.
So that's the key person
Yes.
that's going to kind of be smart enough to kind of go, well, there's an angle here, so we're going to need an access panel here, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously they get a set of standards, but as to whether it's like an architect and a builder, one could be theory, one's practical, and you've got to bring the two together.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where the issues happen. So going back a step, tell me about fat and why it's important to have, what is ducting for? Is it just to eliminate heat, or is it to eliminate fat? Does fat vaporize, and that's why we get it all the way out of the top of the fan here? Like, well, what's going on with fat, and why does it need to be, why do we have to get rid of it through this process?
Fat burns.
You get a build-up of fat, you get a build-up of oil, you get a build-up of soot, you get build-up of all these different type of things that obviously travel up through the ducting. Now, obviously, it's got to be expressed out somewhere into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why they put the ducting system in.
Sure.
But like anything, all these are just fuels for a fire to obviously occur. Now,
But fat is fuel for a fire.
yes,
Or it's everything else that goes with it.
And
it's a combination of
air particles, like in pizza oven situations, all the like wood-fired pizzas, you get all that material that sits builds up into the ducting.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
And
like
some of that can self-combust in a
Correct.
pizza situation where you and these pizza ovens that they're putting in now in like hotels and pubs and they're just dynamite.
And some of them are connected to common ducting.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I describe it, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way I describe it to clients, it's your ducting. Imagine your house, right? And you're in a bushfire area, even if you're not. You maintain all your gutters.
Yeah.
When your gutters fill with leaves and those leaves dry, and if there's a bushfire, that's fuel.
Yeah.
So what you do, you clean your gutters out and minimise it.
Yeah.
Or you put sprinkler systems. That's minimising fuel.
Yeah.
No different to this, right? So if there's a bushfire and there's the right temperature and enough fuel, it'll burn. No different here. If there's a fire in the system and it hasn't been maintained and there's a build-up of grease and fat, that's fuel. If it has regular maintenance, that fuel's greatly reduced. So if there is a fire, it'll just subside.
Okay. So just so I understand this, so what happens is the fat and the grease and the soot, it all builds up in the duct, and then that gets really thick.
Yeah.
And I know last time we caught up, you guys had a little comb that you used to stick in there and determining the level in there, right?
Yeah.
So this just cools down overnight, and then they come back in and they start cooking, and then eventually they just get a thick piece of mud, and then you guys get in there and you scrape that all out.
Yeah,
correct.
So that
And a lot of the
basically
times it doesn't solidify, so you get sometimes a river of oil sitting in a ducting that hasn't been cleaned for a long time. And we've seen places where the oil has actually gone green, and it's just sitting there. And with the ducting in Australia, the other thing is that when they put in ducting and they join it, they here we don't seal the ducting. So overseas they weld it so that they've got machines overseas where you can actually put a spray water down and spray it, and they have an access point down here to get rid of all the water. We can't do that in Australia because we don't seal the ducting. And one of the consequences of that is that you get oil building up here. Where's it going to go? It's going to seep through here and seep into the ceiling. So you get these drips appearing in the ceiling, or coming through an air duct, or coming through a light, and the customer says, "Why is that coming through?" And the thing is that there's been no access. There's no ceiling hatches anywhere along that area. Now, if there was a ceiling hatch in there, we could go along and put a hatch in the side there, and possibly get into there. But a lot of times you get plumbing pipes and sort of electrical. The maintenance is it's just not thought of.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing in Australia, like in Europe, and as Simon says in America, their laws are so stringent, especially in North America. they have the fire inspectors going around inspecting kitchens. So you don't get certified accredited until you've been inspected by a fire authority every year. We need that here.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because
Fire services have a big influence in both North America and the UK in dictating the standard. The other important note from what Phil's diagram shows, so in Australasia, Australia, New Zealand, you've got the systems we use, it's all bolted together in pieces, riveted with seals, right? Eventually those seals will wear.
Yeah.
So a lot of time, so that's a system here. Therefore, we perform a dry clean, which means that with the panels and what we've been talking about this morning, our guys will go in there with special scrapers and physically scrape the material out. In North America, because all the ducting is welded and as one piece, that allows them to go onto the roof, take the cowling off the fan and hot pressure wash.
Sure.
Right? And then collect all the oily water down the bottom.
Yeah.
And then take it away. So, sometimes if you go on Google, and we're in the middle of putting together some of our own very short video clips to show how our guys perform the services.
Yeah, cool.
But you'll see in some of them on YouTube that they're using high pressure. But that's okay if you're in North America or Europe. But here you can't do that because we've got the Lego type setup bolted on with the seal. So you can't use high pressure because you'll get possibility of leakages.
Yeah.
So we've got to work with the environment we're in.
Yeah.
And this is the environment we're in.
Cool.
And that's why we have a dry, and that's why panels are important, getting access to areas.
So how do you guide, let's say you could guide a developer into setting up the building such that if a restaurant wanted to go in there, that you set it up. I suppose your access panels. You want common ducting to make. You got plenty of access panels.
To answer your question, it's the frequency that changes. No matter what goes in there.
Yeah.
No matter what goes in there, as long as it's all set up with the correct access and so on, you could put in a tile or you could put in a pizza.
Exactly.
What changes is the amount of times that place is to be cleaned depending on the type of cooking that's in there. So if you're a tile or something, you might recommend 4 monthly, 3 monthly, 6 monthly. If you're a pizza shop, you might recommend, but once again, it comes back to what the insurance stipulates. Because you got to remember, like the insurance are giving you a standard, right? It's a guide, it's a standard. But once again, you got to look at a common sense approach. So you got to take into consideration volume. You got to take into consideration type of cooking. And you might be a sandwich shop that's, example, cooks bacon and you only get a limit. Then tomorrow you might bring in a new product that's, example, I don't know, sausages or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden that sausages creates, a crap load of more oil and so on through your system. So it's not just about what they're stipulating and what they think is, because it's a guide. You've got to look at other things as design. You've got to look at other things of type of cooking. You've got to look at other things as volume.
Yeah.
So all those things play a
What
huge.
about the filters? Like if you're dealing with somebody who's doing open fire cooking, high fat cooking.
A honeycomb filter, you can't beat the honeycomb filters as far as collecting the oil. And that's a stainless steel baffle filter. Now, stainless steel baffle filters, they're fire rated. The honeycomb aluminium filters, so they're a strong stainless steel filter.
Yeah.
They're fire rated. Now, baffle filters.
What do you mean by fire rated? Like what's
they withstand a fire to a certain degree, rather than the honeycomb filters are made of aluminium. So aluminium's only a soft metal, so aluminium will melt in a fire. It used to be just all sort of aluminium honeycomb filters in Australia, and we had aluminium baffle filters like those ones, but now aluminium baffle filters have been sort of pushed aside, and the stainless steel filters are probably coming into more places because they are fire rated. So when a kitchen consultant is designing a kitchen, they're designing it on the sort of the standards.
Stainless steel honeycomb.
With standards. Yeah.
Sorry.
And also,
sorry, that's a baffle, right?
That's a honeycomb, the other one's a baffle.
That's a baffle.
So also we're getting a lot more open style kitchens. So we're sitting here eating, and there's the kitchen, we can see into the kitchen.
Yeah.
It looks a lot more presentable seeing a stainless steel baffle filters.
And cost difference?
Look, the stainless steel are probably maybe twice as much to buy.
Yeah.
But going back, a baffle filter you used to mainly see above a charcoal. You go into the old style charcoal chicken shops,
Yeah.
and they were to stop the sparks. Spark hits the baffle, just dies.
Sure.
Whereas the honeycomb filter with the intense heat,
Oh, man.
it's the stopping the
So,
sparks.
I mean, if you get this and it's filled with fat and then a spark hits that, I mean,
Yeah.
you've got a Jewish
But,
fire,
but
right?
let me ask you a question, right? Why would you, if you were a shop owner, and this is what we've got to educate out there, why would you wait until that fills with fat? If your
Yeah.
frequencies are correct, right? Because that is designed to absorb the fat. Honeycomb is.
They will collect the oil more than a baffle filter won't hold oil.
Yeah, baffle filter is more designed for airflow.
They will hold half a litre of oil.
Per filter.
Yes.
See, the technical side of this is you've got to understand, right? Besides the cosmetic look of what Phil was saying, where the baffle filters looks a lot better than what the honeycomb is, when you look at airflow, and that's what a lot of engineers look at, hence the reason why they put in baffle filters. If you potentially swap those filters around, it could affect the amount of airflow going through. Some does, at some stage it does, some stage it doesn't. But this is where when we go out there, we see brand new baffle filters out there. We're very reluctant to swap them over with honeycombs or vice versa because of the not only the warranty factor, but the fact that if there's a fire out there or something, we don't want to be held liable.
Yeah.
So the other thing too is if you swap it over and you minimise airflow going through, it could have
Impacts on the
impact
fan.
on the fan. And so this is what I'm saying, that's the technical side aspect of it. But if you look at generally, as what Phil was saying before, the honeycomb was really designed to absorb the oil, whereas the baffle filter was sort of designed to deflect the spark but allow airflow to go through.
Yeah. The only thing that could light a fire in this is the direct application of a flame.
Or a spark somehow, or so this area here, you need an ignition point.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you'll get an ignition point from over here.
Yeah.
You may get an ignition point from the fan if it's an electrical point of view, but if anywhere like especially
cooking. Yeah.
chefs,
Some of it can self-ignite with it's like when you get grass.
Internal combustion. Yeah.
Yeah, internal combustion, and as the heat builds up.
That's not that common.
No, it's not that
What
common.
Simon's saying, the common one is the chefs cooking, high, like any sort of charcoal, high intense cooking.
Yeah. So let me ask you, how do sprinklers get put in these?
It's funny you say that. We just had an incident at one of our sites where, look, from a sprinkler point of view, it's not really our forte. But however, different range woods have different type of designs of where the sprinklers. Some sprinklers are right in front of your face that hang out from it. Some are right behind the filter. Some are inside the ducts. We had an issue the other day where a sprinkler was sitting right on a riser. So the ducting was going straight up on the right there. So as soon as you open up the filter, the sprinkler system's sitting there. Because this works off heat, it got to a point where it was so hot, the sprinkler burst. I've actually got a video of just the water coming through the sprinkler. It's a waterfall. From a sprinkler point of view, some of them are heat activated, some of them are touch activated, some of them are manual activated, some are foam.
So there's one key element here: water and oil don't mix. So if there is a fire, if there is a fire, it looks safe and it looks like it's going to. If there is a fire, and this is why I use a bushfire analogy. If you've got, northerly wind, right temperatures, all the leaves in your guttering, there's trouble, going to be trouble. In a kitchen environment, if there's a fire, the first thing they should do is turn the fan off, stop the oxygen.
Yeah.
Water won't.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Fire retardant won't do much. If the fan's going, it'll just suck it right through.
The key is got to be on time, and it's got to be, the maintenance is going to be based on the style of cooking that's going through the duct.
Yeah.
So really, like what you want is you want your ducting contractor that goes in every 6 months to start to understand the requirements of the building based on the style of cooking, and then put together a maintenance program that is really suitable. And I suppose that would hold massive weight with our insurance companies. So tell me about odor, because pollution's been a big topic lately. There's I know the EPA is really getting out there. Yeah. I know there's a lot of back blow from some of the ducting.
Yes.
So the smell as it comes through, if the wind blows it.
So these odor control systems, the council's making them put them in there because, as spoken previously, you're getting all these high-rise apartments, and so you've got a chicken shop or whoever down there, and they're making them put electrostatic odor control systems in there. these things are absolutely expensive to maintain.
What is an electrostatic odor
Well,
system?
what it is, there's different types of systems,
Filter runs on.
but they have like an electrostatic cell, and it's got all these plates on there.
Like a filter.
And so the air is traveling along here, and you might have a cardboard filter to start off with, and then you might have a bag filter in here, sort of like that. So the air travels through here, and it hits these cells and collects on the cells, and it's supposed to stop the smell from traveling through there and out onto the street.
Because you've got the pub here, and then you've got a bunch, or you've got the restaurant, and then the residents are all on top of it. And because air rises, heat rises, and these systems are supposedly meant to stop the smell, going up into the residents.
And that system might have
if
cost,
they're maintained properly.
Yeah.
Right?
That system, a small system, might cost $20,000, up to $50,000.
That's charged, right? There's power running through that.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, there's got to be a qualified electrician to change these cells.
Yeah.
Now, these cells can be anywhere from this size, like that size, by that. They're like a square box sort of thing. And
And
the size
they're
and-
like charcoal tablets.
And when they're
Yes. And so
And they're much more expensive than normal. A normal honeycomb's at $50. One of these upwards of
down at Barangaroo,
$1,000.
they've got these in every restaurant down there because of the tenants above. And you might have one of those in there in a small like Chinese place in Willoughby, but then in Barangaroo you might have a double bank of these, so you've got them like that, and you've got 4 of them. Now to change those 4 and these bag filters and the cardboards, you could be easily looking at $1,000 every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So I want to ask a couple of things to wrap up, if that's okay. Tell me about Lotus Filters. These are the 4 services that you guys do. How many guys you got on the ground? How quickly can somebody pick up the phone and get you to come out? Tell me about the process, the team, what's going on at Lotus Filters.
We're in 3 states: Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane.
Yeah.
We've got offices and factories with staff. We've got over 100 staff between the 3.
Yeah.
We can service national clients, and we do that now with places like Grilled, Opal Aged Care, sites all around Australia. So to service those other sites in Western Australia or South Australia, we have got contractors that we sort of work with. We recognise that they will do work to the same standard as what we do.
Yeah.
As far as the services on the backs of our card is the whole range of the services that we cover.
Cool. Which
And
is the ones each
Yeah, those
mainly
ones
ones on the left.
there are key services.
Yeah, 4 kitchen.
But at the same time, we do a lot of the air conditioning, duct cleaning, filter installs, and washroom cleaning, fan repairs. We have a contractor does that for us, and filter sales. So and that's in all the states. And we cover every sort of site, whether it's your little fish and chip shop, cafe, cake shop, right up to whether it's a school, a TAFE college, major hotels, facilities companies, Colliers, the JL Williams, all those sort of places that are managing buildings. We do a lot of work out at the airport in the 3 states. So with those sort of things, the other side to our business that was sort of probably makes us a bit higher than the rest of them is the amount of inductions that we're inducted with 33 different companies. And as you probably know that inductions, it's a big part. We've got a dedicated daily rates manager, and he goes between the 3 states. He's up in Brisbane this week. We're HACCP accredited, which is
so tell me about that.
HACCP is a food authority that they come and look at your processes of how you're changing filters, and you're going into a place, and that you're wearing the correct gear, and you're covering pots and pans when you're changing the filters, so nothing's going to drop down into food.
Cross-contamination.
Yeah, cross-contamination. You're cleaning the filters properly, so they come to our factory. And this happens every 2 years. We have to get accredited with HACCP. So we've just recently gone through that accreditation process. Ashley Way, our WH manager, is up in Brisbane, is because we're getting accredited up there because we've only just taken over the business there. So we've had to put a lot of the business that we took over, we've had a lot of stuff to do.
Can I just add to that? We were only HACCP originally accredited for filter exchange. Now we've stepped it up, and now we're actually HACCP accredited for kitchen floors cleaning now.
Yeah.
Cool.
So on both. So we're always looking to.
So they look at all the chemicals you use and the way your workers work and do the processes and with your safe work method statements. So they go through everything, and even as far as sort of coming into your factory and saying, well, you can't have filters sitting on the ground, they need to be on a shelving.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, there it is. I mean, like, let me ask you, how many other ducting, cleaning, filter cleaning businesses out there like you would be HACCP accredited?
None that we know of.
None, right?
No.
Like if you were using like a cheaper ducting system that doesn't have the accreditations and isn't going through it properly and isn't coming out on a regular basis, and you suffer a fire, you will not get insurance today. I promise you that.
No.
I'm seeing it, and a lot of people are going, this is just a hardening time in the market where premiums are really hardening because there's some big catastrophes. It's actually not. I honestly believe we haven't hit a hardening market. Prices are going up, but what there is just a little bit of adjustment where insurers have kind of gone, well, we've issued some really cheap premiums. We really need to adjust those premiums. Who are we going to adjust them on? Well, let's adjust it on the restaurant. Well, if the restaurant can't prove that they've got regular cleaning, regular maintenance, if you've had claims, I mean, you're not going to get insurance. I'm seeing it at the moment.
Well, I mean, what's the chances of, and I mean, with your industry, your knowledge and so on, what's the chances of, I mean, from an insurance point of view, is there a major forum or something that they all get together once a year, 6 monthly, 3 monthly?
We're happy to present.
Well, is this something that we could do to
when we do take it to that next level?
Because I mean,
you guys definitely should consider attending the Steadfast conference in Melbourne.
Steadfast, yeah.
Yeah, Melbourne.
We had contactors from there.
Yeah, because I
but it never progressed any further. We tried to sort of set some dates, and
She's based
Diane, was it?
Oh yeah, Diane.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm speaking to those guys today. I'll get back, but I think
because it'd be great for us
when
to
it's the
get
next conference.
I think you've got to sidestep the insurers, and you've got to get straight and get in front of brokers.
Yeah.
Because like it's time. Like if I'm telling you to pick a time, now's the time.
Yeah.
And don't worry about costs and the cost of what you do, because very, very quickly we're realizing that, taking the shortcuts is actually costing you more later on down the track. And we're all realizing that.
Correct.
And we're realizing that through tradies that we choose, we're realizing that through products that we buy.
Yeah.
There's no cutting corners when it comes to this. And I think it's absolutely fundamental that facility managers take on the cost. If there's a fire, they will not have anything paid.
No.
It's the first question the insurer will ask us.
No.
You have a fire, they're going to send us the certificates, and then we'll respond.
Yeah.
And you see people scramble.
But can it get to the state of like you're insuring that building and they have to provide that after 6 months and they haven't provided, so don't you just cut off their insurance?
They've paid for a year. It becomes a condition.
Yeah, but the condition was they had to have the system cleaned it twice a year.
Yeah. So in the event
So
of a
it's not
claim,
happening
if it's
that.
found, but the conditions are used post the claim. So they're not used contingent. The premium is used contingent to making sure that you have 12 months worth of cover, and then you have conditions to abide by. Now, what that means to all the owners is that insurance policy is now null and void. We haven't connected the insurance industry like that.
No.
It's like for example, life insurance, they do all the testing up front, and then you get the policy. So no matter what we covered, with insurance, it's different.
Yeah.
You tell us what you got. I'll price it on that basis. You pay your premium, you're insured.
No.
When you have a claim, I'll check to see if the information you've given me is valid, and if you followed the conditions.
No.
So it's a very two-way street, and that's why it's important for a broker to come along and keep flashing the sign. Hey, you need to fulfill these conditions. You need to fulfill these conditions.